and the barking of the insignificant. Girl with the tongue, Julie Rambeau.
In her earlier days, the girl used her tongue only to confirm exactly how many licks she could take to find the center of her Tootsie Pop. Only to lose count when the center couldn't be determined as easily as she hoped. The girl would stick out her method of measurement to her mother, brushing the mud off her modest overalls, and insist on knowing its color. The red remains of sugar made the undiscovered number of licks escape her mind. And she licks the yet-to-be-burned brownie batter from the bright yellow spatula with the same tongue that later hugs her index finger so gently after she disregards any instruction to stay away from the stove. And after she promises to have learned her lesson and mother kisses goodnight, the girl tells her, "I love you," and lets her tongue linger on the word love, because nothing tastes as sheltering as a promise that needs no pinky. Now, with the same tongue, this girl argues and starts feuds with the same woman that she used to come crying to, but this time not because she touched the hot oven or went to bed past 10, but because this life is turning out a whole lot harder to run away from than she thought her Skechers had prepared her for. And every time she thinks she's found her way out of the maze, she thumps her forehead in another mirror, telling her to take a different route, to turn around in a different direction. And for some reason, she finds it easier to bury her worries and cries in the sand than to admit she can't look down to tie her own shoes at the playground because she's afraid of looking up to an empty park. But sometimes, the salt in her tears tastes a whole lot sweeter than the lies forced through a smile as fake as the female population, who for some reason deems it necessary to single-handedly rip off every smile that rests on a face prettier than theirs. And instead of keeping promises of forever, and don't worry, I'll be there, the same girl that getting her smile ripped off finds the tongue remaining under the flesh and uses it not to reciprocate any unwarranted hate, but to eradicate any happiness not belonging to her. This girl remembers the little green monster they warned her about and feels his furry fingers on her feet, pulling her closer and closer to the surface of solitude. And while the cycle ceases to end, she searches for an escape tunnel, but the only thing she has no trouble finding is the audacity to take the same knife she licked the sweet vanilla frosting off of on the eve of her 6th birthday and pierce it so far through another's back that the shiny tip might just poke out the other end. She assures herself that it's just a joke, but only laughs to drown out the pain of a dozen knives she's too terrified to reach behind her and pull out herself. But when the winter comes, they'll freeze and drop like icicles as this girl bends back and stretches out her tongue as wide as a baseball mitt in hopes of tasting the refreshing emptiness of kind flakes as unique as her, landing so gently on her weird taste buds, which will soon burn off in the hot chocolate, like the fresh flesh of this becoming woman's thumb, as she anxiously curls her golden brown hair, falling so angelically on her Cinderella prom dress. And the same tongue that embraces her 6-year-old oven-burned finger still eases the stinging heat until she leaves it for colder water. And after awkward first kisses and failed attempts at young relationships, it's with this same tongue that she delicately touches his, in hopes of finding what she thinks is true love, but only to come to the false conclusion that this type of love the fairy tales have prepared her for does not come without 4 dozen mangled pieces of a heart shattered like her husband's 16th beer bottle at 4 in the morning 12 years later. And this woman, with the same tongue that caught almost every tear and tasted every desolation, begs and cries for him to stop, and as he mockingly laughs, her pleads are silenced behind quivering lips. The woman swallows her mortification, folds her hands, and looks up, not having a clue what exactly it is she's looking for. She asks for a sense of reasoning in a world that is tumbling and tumbling faster than she can scream, "Help!" And with the same tongue she has promised with and broken promises with, and has loved and taken away love with, and has idolized and criticized everyone with, including herself, she now cries out louder than the devil screaming in her ear for forgiveness of what she's done and the courage to mask every bitter taste with a glass of milk and accept the love from every sweet flavor.